Welcome back to Mompreneur Mastery. Last week we talked about the buyer journey, right? I talked about why I expanded it into 5 steps people have to go through before they're ready to buy. If you missed that one, go listen to it first because this is the follow-up to that. Because the next question is always, okay, Sydney, but what do I actually post on Instagram or send in emails or share on my podcast? And here's the answer. It's not the same thing everywhere. So let's break down what you should be sharing where and when. Welcome to Mompreneur Mastery. I'm your host, Sydney O'Brien, an Instagram strategist turned content and messaging strategist after watching the online space get louder, buyers take longer, and content turn into a performance instead of real connection. On this podcast, you'll learn how to clarify your message so your content actually stands out in a sea of copy and paste trends and AI noise, and also how to strategize your content across platforms to build the trust and connection that turns followers into clients. All in doable, brain space saving episodes you can fit in between school pickup and reheating your coffee for the third time. Let's dive in. Okay, if you haven't and you have a phone handy, I want you to go to any social media platform and look at the Wendy's. Yes, Wendy's, like the burger and fries place. Look at their social media account and what they interact with and how they interact with it on different platforms. Because the way they do it is, one, absolutely hilarious, and two, kind of spot on, because while it is very much like this over characterization, it is just kind of like a character, a brand here. They do play to each platform. If you look at Wendy's on Facebook, they're talking like they're boomers. If you look at Wendy's on TikTok, they're talking like they're Gen Z. Because it's true, every platform is different. It has its own thing. It's got its own vibe, even just through different social media platforms, right? Not even getting into the differences between social media and email marketing and long form like podcast and blogs, things like that. It's all different. So you don't want to share the same thing in the same way. The same topics at the same time, yes, but it needs to be repurposed and changed a little bit so it can be optimized for each platform. I would not just take an email that I wrote and break it down into like a carousel or caption without changing it first. It's not going to perform the same way. It's not going to do as well. Because when you're on Instagram, people are flying through. No one is there to do a lot of learning. No one is there to do a lot of, digging into deep topics or conversations. People there are just mindlessly scrolling. They're going quickly through. They're not thinking about a whole ton. It's just a double tap and swipe kind of situation. So there, it's got to be hard hitting. It's got to be punchy. You only have a couple seconds to make someone stop the scroll and actually read what you want to share. Email is more personal. They've already signed up to be here. They want you in their lives. That's why they're on your email list. So it needs to feel like you, an actual person, not just another repurposed caption. Podcasts are, people are more ready to listen and learn and dig deeper into topics and discussions. So that's where you can do a lot of connection and trust-based marketing. Blogs are great as well. They're also long form and are much more evergreen than your other content. So it can really help with visibility with SEO as well. If that's something you're interested in learning about, make sure you come back for next week's episode because I'm interviewing an SEO specialist. But people there, they want information, not usually a 20-slide story arc. Like, when you search for a recipe and you have to dig through someone's entire life story to get to the actual ingredients list. We don't always want that. Actually, I honestly never want that. The person who created that jump to recipe button is my best friend. So every type of digital marketing has a different purpose, serves a different purpose, and can be used in a different way along your buyer journey. But through all of these platforms, all of these types of digital marketing, you need to remember that you still need to have the right messaging in there to make sure that you're attracting and engaging and converting your people, right? The steps aren't going to work if you don't have that messaging in place. So always start there. But here's how you can use them for each of the 5 steps that we discussed in last week's episode. So Instagram is really good for growth and engagement. If you have your messaging down, if you use the right keywords, if you're doing outbound engagement as well, you can do a lot more with it. But If you are like me and you are very short on time and you don't want to spend a bunch of time engaging with people on Instagram, stick with growth and engagement. Don't focus a ton on making sales there if you just don't have the time to go in and nurture those leads. Email marketing is great for lots of things, honestly. You can't grow with it, just email marketing. You can sign up for bundles. There's plenty of off social media ways to grow. Lead magnets, lead magnet swaps, and you can promote your lead magnets on social media and your podcast or your blog for growth, which will help grow your email list specifically. But it's really great for engagement. You can get replies from people and start conversations with the email. You can build connection, you can build trust, and obviously selling is really great when you're doing email marketing. Now, podcasting is a big trust builder because, like I said, people who are listening to podcasts are ready to learn, they're ready to think, they're ready to consume this information, and you can share a lot of authority on a podcast episode. So it's really great for those connection and trust stages specifically, but also obviously, yes, if you're selling something, you also want to talk about that so you can get sales. But because podcasting is so great for building trust and connection, it's always a good idea to promote your podcast episodes on your social media, or even if you don't have a podcast, but you're a guest on a podcast, promote them on your social media to help people along that buyer journey as well. Now, if you have a blog, this is great for growth. Like I said, for showing up in Google searches. It can be great for connection and trust as well. You can do some really great storytelling. You can do some great educating. You can share client wins, case studies, all sorts of stuff. And it's evergreen and just shows that you are a trustworthy authority in your niche. And yes, if you're selling something, you can always mention it in your blog. Like, of course, share those links, but I wouldn't rely on it too heavily for sales. That's going to be much more email marketing than anything. All right, so let me run you through a quick example. This is actually what it looks like for me right now while I'm doing my membership promo as I've kind of restructured it. So right now, the episode you're listening to is part of a bigger series. I'm breaking down the buyer journey 1 week, platform strategy to the next, so you can see I know what I'm talking about and can start applying it yourself. I sprinkle in social proof in there, which also builds trust, and all the content I have been sharing in the past few weeks has been leading up to this bigger promotion period for my membership, talking about the importance of messaging, talking about what happens when you have the right message, what happens when you don't, what happens when you have the marketing plan, what happens when you don't, all of these things showing that this is what is needed if you want this end transformation that I am offering with my membership, which is content that leads to sales, right? So that's what I'm doing in this podcast, all these episodes that you've been listening to. And then when I air a podcast, I always promote it on social media. I want to get followers on social media, sure, if they're aligned, but I also want to direct them to longer form content that helps me get those touch points and builds that connection and that trust much faster than just endless Instagram posts would, right? So I'm sharing clips, I'm sharing carousels that offer like a quick overview of it and then directing them to listen to the podcast to get more information. I am also promoting my lead magnet on socials and in my podcast episodes so people get on my email list that way, because the primary way I'm going to be promoting my membership during this promo period is through my emails. I'm sending out newsletters to start getting engagement with my audience, start building connection and trust, sharing stories, sharing case studies, social proof, all of the things, and still linking to my membership and inviting people to join there. And every podcast episode I share also has an accompanying blog post. It's a little bit different because we want it optimized for SEO, but it's basically the same information. So that helps me get growth, new followers, reading my content and learning about me and my strategy, my unique selling perspective, all of that. And then also, if I link to it in emails, that's also more connection, more trust with my existing email list to help get those touch points, to help guide them down the buyer journey to be ready to buy with me by the time I do promote my membership to them. So all of these pieces are connected and all roads lead back to the membership. A thing I'm also doing that is not specifically like content marketing, but for growth itself, look to participate in bundles if the audience is your audience, right? Make sure you're looking into the details of the bundle before you sign up for it. Do podcast guesting. Check out that episode from 2-ish weeks ago with Candace Dudley. She had so many great tips for how to do that intentionally so you can get already warm leads on your email list and in your world. Find some other business owners and do lead magnet swaps. Apply to speak in summits. There's some really great ways to not only grow your list, but do it in a way that is super aligned so you're getting the right people in your audience. And you're also starting to build that connection and trust as you do it. But the thing I see most people overthink when they start to plan their content on multiple platforms like this is you don't need 10 new brand messages every week. You need one message shaped to fit the platform. So think, what is the core message this week? What platform is going to carry the growth for me? What platform is going to carry connection and trust? Where am I going to invite people to buy? So right now, for me, the thing I'm talking about is content only works to get sales if it walks people through the buyer journey. And I'm just saying that on all my platforms and all the way I'm marketing just in different ways to suit that platform, but it's still getting me all the touch points I need with people, leading them to the right places. So I'm still guiding my people down the buyer journey, but I also don't have to come up with 10 different things to post on 10 different platforms. It's still all very cohesive and working together. So if you were sitting here right now thinking, okay, I get it, but I have no idea how to plan this out for myself. Maybe it feels a little overwhelming. Maybe you are a visual person, you just can't quite wrap your head around it. Number one, check out the buyer journey content map. It's free. It's linked in the show notes. Number two, this is exactly what I help you with inside the Content to Clients Club, like one-on-one, because I know it's going to look different for everyone. Everyone's audience is different. Everyone's abilities and like time and resources are different when it comes to what you can put into your marketing. So that is what I help walk you through inside the membership. One of my members recently told me that she finally felt like she knew what each post was supposed to do. And that is the power of mapping this out together each month. It's so important. And it's not as hard as you think it might be. So if you're ready for that clarity, the link for the membership Content to Clients Club is also in the show notes. And you can join us whenever you're ready. And if you're not quite ready for that, like I said, no problem. Go ahead and grab the free buyer journey content map, and I'll just give you a little taste of what it looks like so you can start plugging it into your own content today and have more of a plan with less overwhelm. I hope that was helpful. If you have questions or if you had an aha moment, I would love it if you would DM me on Instagram and tell me about it. My handle is at sydneyobrien.co. SYDNEYOBRIEN.co. That's it for this episode of Mompreneur Mastery. If you're building a business around your life, not the other way around, and you're tired of being told to hustle harder to make sales when you're already hustling at 110%, I hope this gave you a breath of fresh air. And if it did, I would love it if you left a quick review or shared this with another mom entrepreneur who is ready to market with more strategy and way less stress. And if you want to see what a cohesive content map across multiple platforms with strategic messaging looks like, check out the link in the show notes to grab your free copy of the Buyer Journey Content Map. I'll see you next time.